And we're back with another episode of Trigger Day, the podcast. We are in season 6 and we are rocking and rolling with the amazing conversations. And today we have the founder of Perfectaholic, Crystal Love, with us to talk about this and that. We can be this and that, okay? So let's lean into the and we're going to take a deeper dive into what that means and how you can benefit and kind of accept and embrace all the things that you are as a woman.
Exactly. And now the only question that we ask on every single podcast episode, because our guests are truly some of the most multi-hyphenate folks we have ever met on this side of heaven. So we always like to ask, like, outside of the accolades, the roles, and all the things that you do, who is it that you say you are?
So I am an A+ napper. Because gotta have a nap.
Oh, gotta have a good nap.
It's necessary.
And it is a requirement of my life.
Yes.
And outside of that, I've been saying for a few years, I'm one part sweet, one part sass, and one part sparkle.
You're like me. I'm like warm tea and Hennessy.
Yes. So I'm just a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a sprinkle of this. Yeah. So sweet is like I lead with my heart. I always have. Sass is I lead with my heart, but
run up, get done up.
Yes. And sparkle is something that's fairly new for me in the last couple years, and that I'm just embracing. I'm no longer hiding my light. I'm no longer shrinking myself to make other people comfortable or even myself more comfortable. Sometimes you have to push yourself to put yourself out there. So that's what sparkle means to me.
Pushing yourself to the uncomfortable place.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I like that you said that it's not just because every time we think about dimming our light, we think it's for everybody else. But sometimes it is us and our own fears of shining too bright and like scaring our own selves with our own light.
I think in my experience, it leans more towards ourselves and not necessarily other people. It's more so sometimes what we perceive other people might be or perceive what other people might say. Right. But a lot of times it's like, ooh, me, I can't.
That's what I like.
I don't want to. Because it's easy to just stay in your little box. It's easy to stay, in stay in the slow lane. It's really easy and safe over there, and it's easy, but once you push yourself, that's the first step. It's you have to almost like accept that yourself is going to sparkle, that yourself is going to be maybe uncomfortable, because there are plenty of times where I am more uncomfortable than probably you are about me. So it's I think you have to start with yourself.
I like that. It truly is kind of being okay with, if I want to grow, I am going to have to get uncomfortable. Yes. And there are going to be spaces and places that will require me to bring something else that I may not have tapped into.
Yeah, and I think even though we do have our own kind of boxes to break out of, there are people who put us in boxes, especially as women. When you're multi-hyphenate and you have all the titles and you're doing all the things, it comes with a slew of challenges and its own kind of like complexes, especially as women, especially as Black women, like all those are boxes. And people can't help sometimes because we are sparkly to put us in that box because it just seems like, okay, this is how I can understand them. So what would you say is the importance of being both and all in a world that requires us to kind of choose and select labels and boxes and identifiers, and like we have to just always put ourselves somewhere so that people can understand us? So what do you feel like is important about that so that we don't always have to try to make ourselves more digestible for other people?
I think it's a process, right? Because I think, at this point, as I'm sitting here talking to you guys, I'm 41. And I think about myself when I was in my early 20s. And then I think about myself as I was getting to 30. And then I think about myself as I was transitioning from 30s into like, oh snap, am I about to be 40? And I think that as you get older as a woman, you become less of just this and just that. And you become more and more and more this and that, and a little bit of this. And I'm this, but I'm also this. So I think sometimes it is, you may not be ready to be all of those things.
Ooh. Ooh,
and that's okay.
That's a good point.
There's nothing wrong with you just sort of being in this lane for a little bit.
Yeah.
Get there, get comfortable, because there is something that you learn in that slow lane.
Yeah.
Right? You can't immediately start driving on the highway and driving all the way over in the HOV lane, which is like, don't get over here if you're not going 85 miles.
Exactly, because they're going to run you over.
Exactly. If you're doing 40 on the highway, get out of my way.
And that is exactly, I feel like life will run you over.
Yeah.
You know, yourself will run you over until you're ready.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's nothing wrong with you slowing down, easing into it, you know? Because I feel like I've eased into, you know, my 20s were like, oh, this is adulthood? Oh, no.
This did take me back.
Yes. And then once I finally sort of got to that, it was like, then that sort of perfectionism really kicked in for me, where I was like, oh, wait, okay, I'm this age. I need to be this.
Mm-hmm. Your own checklist comes out.
Yes. Yeah. And then having to make peace with that. So it's a process.
Yeah.
So I think it's like giving yourself permission to take those steps to ease into it.
Yeah.
But then I think once you're there, I think it is just accepting that nobody is ever going to appreciate all the spaces about you.
Oh, that's so true.
Nobody.
Yeah.
No, not even your mother. You know, who birthed you.
No, that's the truth.
They're
honestly
not.
Sometimes not even you. Like, don't get me wrong, I love every part of me. Like, I just feel like I'm just a really dope human, y'all. And also, there are pieces and parts of me that I'm just like, dang, that piece not so good. It's not so great.
Yeah.
It's not so great.
And that's okay.
That part needs help.
Yeah, that is okay. I think we put a lot of our pressure on ourselves for us to accept every part of us. There are ugly parts of me. You know, there are parts of me I'm like, Crystal, no. But it is just who I am. I'm not going to be perfect all the time. I'm going to have thoughts where I'm like, I really wish I didn't feel that way. Yeah. I really wish I was not like, you know,
I have lots of those.
I had a friend, this was 7-8 years ago. Mm-hmm. A friend of mine got engaged, and I was at a space in my life where I was feeling a certain type of way about not being married and not being, you know, in that sort of space. And I was out of town, so my mom happened to hear about it before I did. Mm-hmm. My mom called me to tell me in advance so that I could essentially fix my face before my friend told me.
She knew.
She knew how triggered it would make me.
Yeah.
And
it's so nice. And so kind.
It was kind of her, but that was a space that I judged myself for being. I was jealous of her. I was uncomfortable. I was jealous. I was envious. And those are like, that's a space where I was like, that's a part of me I didn't like.
Yeah.
But I was having to, as my mom, she saw it, she knew it, but it was a part of me that I was trying to hide. Yeah. But the reality was that's where I was in my life. Yeah. And I hated that for me and for my friend, but that's where I was in my life. So again, we're not always perfect humans. You know,
shout out to your self-awareness for even being able to admit that, because I always have this thing where it's just like, if everybody has the haters, who are the haters? Like,
if everybody has a hater, who are the haters?
Like, who are the people that are like, you're like, I'm the hater, like I was hating on her.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my goodness. Listen, I love the fact that you are so self-aware, because Danny says all the time that I have this issue where I don't understand the difference between the exception and the rule.
Not at all. Not even a little bit.
She says I don't understand because most people are not self-aware, but in my very self-aware mind, I feel like everybody is this way.
No.
Should I explain? Maybe give it context?
Sure. Yeah.
So she thinks that because she is the exception, that the exception is the rule. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So everything in life to her just seems like, oh, that's just how it is. That's how everybody is. That's how, why can't they just do it like this? Or why don't they just pull themselves out of that situation? So she just has this complex where she doesn't understand that most people are not like that at all. And that the way that she has come out of her trauma and the things that have happened to her are the exception to what most people come out of it as, not the rule. And it tends to trickle into every aspect of her life where she just thinks like, oh, that's just how it is and that's how it should be. And I'm just like, nobody else does that except for you. And then she's like, oh, I know other people that do it, because you're attracting and surrounding yourself with other people that are like you and like-minded that are also the exception. But 10 people out of 1 million people being that exception does not make it more of a rule because it's just those 10 people. There's still a larger number of people who do things in a very different way.
Very different.
Yeah. And it's difficult for me to understand because in my mind, okay, we all can change. If we can all decide that we don't like something and decide that, okay, we're going to stop doing the thing that we don't like, or we're going to stop putting forward the actions.
We can absolutely all change.
That's what
We're just not all at the point where we're ready to change.
Or willing to change.
Or even at a point where we understand that we can change.
That part. We don't even know we need to. We don't even know it's a thing to do.
And that for me is difficult to comprehend, I admit. And she always talking about me saying, well, you just don't get it. And I don't. You have to recognize your shortcomings. I don't get it. I don't understand why people can't just decide that, okay, I hate the way this experience makes me feel. I'm going to start making different decisions. I don't understand why that's something that people just don't do.
Sometimes I think you just get stuck in it.
Oh, yeah.
You get stuck in it. You get comfortable in it.
But you don't like it.
Yeah, well, I'm very comfortable in certain jeans, but they're too tight for me now. But I still wear them because I'm comfortable in them.
Yeah.
I know how they feel.
You know what to expect. You know what you're going to get.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
I think a lot of it is just like, it's actually sometimes more uncomfortable to leave that toxic situation because I don't know what else is out there.
Yes.
That unknown, there's so much bullshit we do as humanity because of our fear of the unknown. There's so much that happens. Racism is based on the unknown and ignorance. Religious practices that included murdering others, the Crusades. All this stuff is based and rooted a lot in ignorance and fear of the unknown, fear of other people, fear of what's to come if we change things the way they are. Yeah. I feel like that's what it is like you don't have that kind of fear for the other side. And most people have immense and deep fear for things that they don't understand.
I'd be excited to see what's on that other side. I'm like, this side over here, it ain't doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Let me pick somebody else to do it. I'm going to invite myself to the other side. I just feel like I refuse. And this too is a part of like telling yourself the truth. Yes. I'm a firm believer that you can pick somebody else to do it. If you don't like an experience, pick somebody else to have that, because that might be the thing for them that it is not for you. Mm-hmm. And so when we are, telling ourselves the truth, and in fact, per Danny, lots of us like to avoid it like it's the plague because it can be so scary to tell yourself the truth, and also to sit in the mess and the chaos as you're also like working through it. So how would you suggest, or what are some of the steps that we can take to embrace our full selves as we are working through the mess and the chaos? So doing that, we all can agree, is hard, right?
Yes.
Telling yourself the truth, figuring out who you are. Like I said, I don't understand choosing something that does not make you feel good. I don't understand it, but I'm working through it. I'm working on it. But what are some of the steps that you took to embrace the chaos, and the mess of kind of who you are as you're also working through it?
So I'm glad that you said what you said about you don't believe in like doing something that doesn't make you feel good, right?
I don't.
So, but pain is a teacher. Oh. So for example, when you're a child and your mom's like, don't touch that, and you're like, and then you touch something hot and you're like, ouch. Mm-hmm. It hurts for a reason.
Yeah.
It is teaching you. Next time you go to touch that, you're gonna be like, your brain's gonna be like, ooh, that's gonna hurt me. Yeah. So you can choose to touch it and re-experience that pain because you know that's what's going to happen. Or you can go, nope, don't want it.
Yeah.
So when you are trying to be truthful with yourself, it's going to be painful. The truth hurts. They say it's a saying for a reason.
Yeah.
The truth hurts. It especially hurts when that truth is coming from yourself. Yeah. And you have to be ready to accept that pain. And I think a lot of times people avoid their own truths because it's painful.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good.
Especially the parts of us that aren't, as well and prim and proper and put together.
Yeah, we don't like the ugly parts.
I just feel like, whether you believe in God or spirit or the universe, like it's happening for a reason to teach you something so that you don't go back there, or that the consequences of some of these truths, some of these speed bumps, some of these pains.
Yeah.
So for me, I was in a really, really dark place for a really long time. Mm-hmm. And I always felt like it was someone else's job to fix me. It was someone else's job to get me out of where I was.
Yeah.
Until I decided to accept the pain that it was me who put me there.
Yeah.
And it was me who was going to have to get myself out of there.
It's me.
It is. It's me. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me. Like literally. Like that 9 times out of 10, we are our own worst enemies.
Yeah.
We stay where we don't need to stay. We dig ourselves in holes that just get deeper and deeper and deeper because we're not ready. We're not willing to accept that little bit of, ouch.
Yeah.
To get out of it. You know?
Yeah.
Like, no one promised us an easy life. You know? They promised us a beautiful life. But most things that are beautiful are not perfect.
Oh, that's so true.
They're broken. They're flawed. There's little cracks in them. But
There's
that's
fault
what
lines.
Yes, but that's what makes them beautiful. So I think in terms of like getting to that truth and getting through that mess, you have to be ready. Because you can say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna deal with my mess, but I'm not ready right now. I think that's the first step is you just have to accept that I am a mess.
Yeah, and I like it here. Kind of like what you said to your therapist the other day.
Yeah. I was telling her, she was asking me, how are you doing with things emotionally? And I'm like, oh, right now I'm not well. Like, I'm really like bitchy and on edge. And I just don't feel like doing the work to not be that way. I was just like, I know better. I know what to do. I know to breathe. I know to go for a walk. I know the books to read. I know all the things to ground myself. I get it. I know what to do. I don't feel like doing it right now. Exactly. I just want to sit in this space. I just want to be a little bitchy. It feels good to me right now. I just want to say what's on my mind. I just want to be my irritable, annoyed, pissed off self for a little bit. I'll be back, y'all. But just ride this little wave with me of my emotions and what I'm going through right now as I have changes going on. And I think sometimes, hopefully, the people around you can just give you a little grace to just kind of have these moments of just not being the best version of yourself. And I'll be back.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
that's what I meant when it's like you accept that you're in a space, in a mood.
Yeah.
But I'm not ready to get out of it.
No.
And that is here.
Sit here for a little bit.
And
I'm not going to stay here, I promise.
But
I'm gonna
part of,
chill.
I think, at least in my personal healing journey, is part of getting out of it was being in it. Like, I needed to allow myself to be in it.
Yeah, to feel.
Yes, I wanted to be here.
Yeah.
I want to fix it, but I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
I'm not done crying. I'm not done moping. I'm not done. I'm not done. I want to be a crybaby for a little while longer, and that's fine.
And maybe that's what some of us need to do. Maybe sometimes we're not fully healed from things, or we're still crying over things that happened 20 years ago because we never really sat in it. We never took the time to process it and go through it and reconcile that pain. Because just like what you were saying, it's like you touch that hot stove, it teaches you okay, this is hot. Maybe I should have touched this. Ooh, can I get burned? How long can I touch it for? Can I touch it for 5 seconds? Can I touch it for 10 seconds? What can the heat be used for? What do they put on the stove? How can heat help me? How can heat hurt me? You can start asking questions and having a better relationship with heat. Usually after you get burned from it, because you know the extremities.
Yes.
And it's the same thing with men. It's the same thing with money. It's sometimes it's not until you are messed with or something fucks up royally, and then it's lesson learned. Now I get it. But I wanted to know from you, from going through that pain and being in that dark space, how do you feel like you grew from that? What were the things that came out of the pain that you felt shaped you for the next chapters of your life?
I think I learned boundaries were an issue for me. I would just let them be
free for all.
Yes.
They were just scribble
from romantic partners, from family, from friends.
Yeah.
It was just I was, yes, I'll do it. No problem. I'll take care of it.
I have a friend like that.
Yes. And it's hard because you feel the value of that relationship is related to you saying yes. It's related to you just going along. It's related to you being there for them. They're not always there for you, but that's okay. I'm there for them. They love me. They need me. But you're exhausted. You're depleted. You're giving. Nobody is giving back to you. You're not even giving to yourself.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So that was one thing I learned is that I have to say no, which I love saying now. No, I'm sorry, I can't do it.
That's my favorite word.
Yeah. Saying no. Being comfortable with myself.
Yeah.
When I'm in a mood, in a space and whatever, I'll be back in a couple weeks. I'll see y'all.
Yeah.
I'll call you in a couple weeks, girl. I just need a moment.
Yeah.
And I go and I get quiet.
Yeah.
And by quiet, I mean physically, emotionally, spiritually.
Yeah,
I don't talk. I don't
You
text.
just take some time.
Yeah, I don't read. I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't even read. I just
get still.
yes. And I just feel like my spirit speaks to me at that time when I'm I am in a space, I am crying, I am releasing, I need to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I need to get it out, you know? Because I feel like some of the reason why people keep repeating is because they don't feel understood. I'm like, but I need to explain why I'm doing this. I need somebody to understand why I keep touching that. You know, I kind of like it. Like, I don't know why.
It gives me a little bit of pleasure.
Yes. So it's like sometimes you just need to be with yourself.
I agree 100%.
Because, you know, as I've gotten older, I realize I don't care how much I talk to my girlfriend, my therapist, my mom, my cousin, my business coach, until I accept, until I am ready, Crystal ain't doing nothing.
It doesn't matter.
Crystal will stay exactly in this situation until I am ready. And so for me, what I learned is, like I said, taking a moment. That's what works for me. It doesn't work for everyone else. You got to just figure out what works for you when you're in those spaces. And also just giving yourself grace. Like, I love what you said about, like, I'm just not ready to be out of it yet.
Yeah.
And I've been there. You know, I have been there like, no, I'm grumpy. No.
Right. And it's like also trusting yourself that you will come out of it. Right. It's like, I know myself really, really well. I'm highly self-aware. Like, I know I'm going to be back, y'all. I don't know exactly when. But I'm like, and then sometimes like, okay, like now that my husband's getting like real irritated with me, I've like given myself like a little, I think I came out of it like maybe like 2 days ago. And I like made him like some lamb chops, some mashed potatoes and stuff as like a little like mini apology. Peace offering. You know, and I was just like, I just wanted to make you something nice tonight. And I was like, it was kind of like me kind of letting him like, okay, I'm back. Like, I'm done being an asshole.
It took me a minute.
I hope you accept my peace offering, you know, and like, let's have sex or something. I'm sorry. But it's, you know, it sometimes takes me a second to want to get out of that space because I honestly really like being there. Like, I love being bitchy. Like, it makes me feel good. I like saying whatever I want to say. I like being a little nasty. I want to roll my eyes. I want to cuss you out. Like, I want to say you're annoying me.
That's a part of who you are.
It's just a part. I always saw it. I'm just like, it was really a deep-seated part of my character. I don't know from which generation or what great-grandma passed it down, but it's like, I'm like a little like snappy and I want to say something. I like to make fun of people. And it's just how I am. And it's like, I don't all the way hate that about myself, you know? So it's like, I know that it's not beneficial to relationships and I know that it can hurt people's feelings, which I don't want to do.
Right.
So because I don't like the byproduct of something, I have learned to control it and I've learned to rewire parts of my brain that make me want to say something snarky or want to say something mean. So I've learned how to do that, but it's just like sometimes I don't have the capacity or the energy to do it.
You're not perfect.
Because it takes energy to rewire those things because you're always rewiring things and it takes effort to be a better person. And it's like, that's why I'm like, y'all gotta be lying about all this work y'all doing because y'all making it look way too easy. Like, it is hard.
Doing self-growth, and it's not like people make it the internet will make it seem like it's overnight. It's not.
My gosh. It's not. Or that it's one and done.
It is not.
And you have to constantly, I think that's the piece that people forget about healing and about growth and about growing and going, you know, transitioning into that next higher level of yourself. You constantly get triggered at higher levels. You learned how to...
New levels, new devils.
New levels, new devils. You learned how to work through that trigger on level 1, but now level 3, the ninja about to finish him, and the him is you. Because now you have to work through it again with an even harder trigger or a more difficult challenge. But
or you have to do something else, like I call it I had to learn how to ride and whistle. Like, it was so much easier for me to be like this nice, happy, high-vibing version of myself that was just like full of like rainbows and butterflies, and I was just all about like being nice and happy. And then I got married, and then I had a child, and then I got a stepchild, and I have a dog, and it was just like...
too much.
All of y'all. And what the rainbows gotta go. I'll keep the butterflies, but I can't do all of that all the time at the same time. Like, it's just so much. And my mom always used to tell us as children, you need to learn to ride and whistle.
Like what you just heard? Want some more? Make sure you're subscribed for the full access behind the scenes community view on our Patreon. Or if you love Apple, you can also subscribe there. And you can do so by going to triggeredafpodcast.com. You can use the top banner, or you can go ahead and click those first 2 buttons to subscribe exactly where you want to.
continue to share all of our podcasts with your friends, with your family members, and you can continue to watch just 30 minutes on YouTube now. So if you want the full episode, you better subscribe.
We will see you soon as a member of our tribe. We cannot wait to continue these conversations. Bye, Trigger Happy Fam.